In today's video we find out, did the bubonic plague ever reach Stowmarket? If it didn't, how close did it get? How did the people of Needham Market stop it spreading? What do locals really call this bridge? What was the disturbing old name of the causeway in Needham Market? Stay tuned and find out in this video.
Life is a winding road, no telling where it goes.
Today I'm in the picturesque town of Needham Market in Suffolk, and indeed the bubonic plague didn't reach Stowmarket in the neighbouring town, but it did reach Needham Market, and that's what we're looking at today. As you enter Needham Market from the west, you cross an almost unnoticed bridge known as Badley Bridge on maps, but to locals the bridge has a different name, Chain Bridge. This is because between 1665 and 1666 a chain was placed across the road here at this bridge to prevent people from entering and leaving Needham Market. People from neighbouring Stowmarket would leave food near the chain, and then later in the day the people of Needham Market would take the food and leave money in a bowl of vinegar left near the chain, and then later the people from Stowmarket would come and collect the money. At the opposite end of town, Chain House Road commemorates the chain that was at that end of town. And also on the High Street, number 1 the High Street, is called Chain House. Hidden away near the railway line is an older mortuary building. Although it was built in 1936, maybe this is the site of a previous mortuary during the plague times. In the centre of Needham Market is a narrow turn-off to a street called the Causeway. But back in 1600, this route was known as the Corpse Way, and it was the way that corpses were carried out of Needham Market to Barking Church. At that time, Needham Market was part of the parish of Barking, and all the burials were done at Barking Church. Today I'm going to walk the Causeway, or the old Corpse Way, all the way to Barking Church. One of the most scariest figures during the plague times must have been the plague doctor. I mean, the weird bird mask. What the heck was that about? If you weren't already scared by the Black Death, being visited by this guy must have been terrifying. The scary uniform that the doctor wore was invented in 1619. Prior to that, doctors just used their initiative to stop them catching the plague. The hat the doctor wore on his head was an indication that this was a doctor. It was like a doctor's hat. So if you saw someone wearing the hat, you knew it was a doctor. The strange and scary bird-like face mask could have come from the fact that it was believed that birds were spreading this disease. But also the beak shape in the mask was filled with herbs and things that smelt more pleasant, like mint and rose petals, as it thought that maybe it was spread by miasma in the air, and also just the stench of corpses around at that time enabled the doctor to go into really stinky places and do what he needed to do. The leather head to toe gown is just literally to keep whatever it was out away from the doctor's skin. The stick, I'm guessing, is so that it could actually examine people without touching them, poke around, and even if they came to a corpse they could touch the corpse with a stick without fear of contracting the disease themselves. But I have to say, the plague doctor must have been a terrifying sight coming to town at that time. Thankfully the plague is a thing of the past. Or is it? Between 2010 and 2015 there were over 3,000 cases of bubonic plague, and nearly 600 of those people died from the disease. So the main places that recently suffered the plague are Madagascar, Peru and the Democratic Republic of the Congo. Of course today, thanks to science and medicine, you've got a much higher chance of surviving, whereas back in the 1600s, really 90% of the people or more died of the plague. This would be quite a long way to carry a corpse, but this is the corpse way. The last funeral procession up this causeway or corpse way was in 1914. So there is actually a chain across this bridleway to stop people driving down it, I guess. But it is quite reminiscent of how the road was chained off in Needham Market back in the days of the plague. So it's got a plaque above the main entrance inside the porch. It says, "Open to me the gates of righteousness, and I will go in them and praise the Lord." They probably carved that at a time when it was safe to leave the church open. I understand why they lock them sometimes, but it's great to find a country church in the middle of nowhere like this that's open and go in and have a look round. And I think there's a note on the other door that says that there is a phone number. I think there's a guy who lives down the hill, you can go and get the key, but I'm not going to do that today.